Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're taking a look at the Frame Arms Girl Baihu, and I've got to say right off the bat, of the few Frame Arms Girls kits that I have built, this, when I was building it, I definitely felt it was the best one that I've built so far. It just feels more stable and more sturdy. It just feels better than the other ones that I've built. No, I haven't built all of them by any means. I've only built a few, but this one is definitely, I think, my favorite one so far. Really cool. I love the color scheme on it too, just that really light, like kind of cream color for the armor, and the little accents of the light blue and the light color pink for her hair. It all goes together really cool, and it looks really nice. I really like how this kit came out. So we'll go through everything that it comes with, but as always, guys, a huge thank you to SA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review. Do check the link to their site down below. You can get, of course, not only Gundam stuff, but Kotobukiya stuff there, like this, for example, on their site as well, and everything with 10% off using my coupon code there. So check that out. Now, let me first go through and just show you guys everything that this kit comes with. So the first thing that it's going to come with is a set of water slide decals. Now this is basically just a set for the eyes, and that's pretty much it. So unfortunately no other kind of markings or anything like that for this. And then for hand options, as you can see there on the kit, I've got the just open resting hands. And then we do also have a set of closed fists, open expressive hands, holding hands, and then another set of open expressive hands? Yeah, if you saw the unboxing, I got two sets of the open expressive hands here. This set is supposed to be trigger finger, like extended trigger finger hands, but this is actually a mistake from the manufacturer, unfortunately. And I tried, but unfortunately I'm not able to get a set of trigger finger hands for this, so I'm just not going to have them. But I'm sure if I really wanted, I could just take them from a different kit. It really doesn't matter. They might be a little bit different, but anyway, I think I'll be okay without them. Just the holding hands, I think, should be fine for all intents and purposes, but we'll find out here momentarily. Now, of course, we do have some different face options as well. So first off, you can actually remove this part here below the chin if you didn't want to have that part on there. I actually kind of prefer it without that because I don't really like the look of this huge chin part. But anyway, it is kind of this like blank, kind of expressionless look there. Not really too much to that one, but that's our first face option. Our second option here, to my naked eye, I can't really spot much of a difference between the two faces there. Apparently they're supposed to be different, but they really look so similar. It's really hard to tell. But as you can see, this would be our head option if you wanted to have the head without the helmet part. You just stick those ponytail bits or pigtail bits, I don't know, onto the side of there for the regular head without the helmet. So I'll show you that a little bit later on. And then our third face option is much better. Here we have just an actual expressive face where they're kind of looking off to the side there with their mouth open. So kind of like an action pose kind of face. So that's good. We at least have one more expressive face here. Then we got these couple option parts here for the legs. So basically it's so you can take off the legs at from that gray bit down. So you remove this lower leg and then you use this part in between, and then you can plug in the Frame Arms Materia legs onto the bottom of there. And as you can see here in the menu, here is how that's going to look. So with taking the arms and the legs from the Materia onto the body, here's how that's going to look with these parts there in between. And then we have these other option parts there for the legs. These again are just replacement parts for these parts here. Now, I mean, the design is different and the size is different, but otherwise I can't really tell a whole lot what's really different about these because they fit the same legs. And according to the manual, it just has you like take off these legs and use these parts instead and then put the same legs back on. So I guess if you just wanted the legs to be a little bit shorter or something like that, maybe with a little bit different design, I suppose you could maybe use these for some other legs as well. Like I think these should fit probably the like Architect Frame Arms Girl legs, I think. Then we have a different option here for the chest armor. So if you wanted a little bit different armor, a little bit less armored look there for the chest, you have this option part here as well, different neck and different chest part there for that. Then getting to our actual weapons, around here on the back you can see we've got the cannon. We do actually have a second one of these, so you could have two of them, one on each side, but on the other side for now I've got this bit here, which I guess is supposed to be some sort of like targeting laser or something like that. But you have both a right and left connector piece here for the cannon, so you can see you can just swap that piece out and then you could have two cannons there on the back if you wanted. And then we also have the sword, which is a pretty nice design, but it's all molded in white here. The actual blade of that is supposed to be black, but so you'll have to paint that if you want. But anyway, that also can be mounted onto the backpack with this connector piece here. That just slides down all the way into that like that, and then that can be connected onto the backpack. This one as well, you have a connector piece for either the left or the right side, so depending on which side you wanted to have it on her back, you have the option for that. Unfortunately, not two swords. That would have been cool if it would have given us two swords, so that you could have two of those on her backpack, but unfortunately only one. And then the last weapon here is the laser rifle. So again, this is pretty much very similar, almost exactly the same to the one used by the Frame Arms kit. Of course, it's just in a little bit smaller size and a little bit different details, but Pretty nice. This one can also, you can remove some parts on this. So if you remove all of that, then it's stripped down to its very simple form here, and this would be sort of like a laser pistol, I guess, if you wanted to use that. And that's it for the accessories, but just going back to the backpack here, it's interesting that it's not actually connected onto her back. If I can remove this here, you can see it's actually mounted onto the back of her waist section there, so that does, I think, make it seem a little bit more stable actually. I just want to take that off to make this a little bit easier. But as for these thruster bells, really cool design on these, but unfortunately they can't move or anything at all. They're basically just stuck in that position. Even though they look like they should be able to move, they don't. But that said, of course, the cannon does move. You have a couple of points of articulation here, here, and here, so you can move that around as you like. So nothing to make that to be able to twist to change the like left to right angle. You can just move that up and down, forward and back basically. And of course the same thing on the other side, is just that this thing will just rotate like that just a little bit. Back to the girl herself, the hair parts are just on ball joints, but they can't really move around too much without basically falling out. But you can kind of change the angle of those a little bit if you wanted to do some sort of action pose or something like that. The head will point up to about there, not really all that much, and then you can get it pointed down all the way to there, which is pretty good. As for the shoulders, I really like the design of these shoulders, just these really big bulky shoulders. Of course, that's also again taken from the frame arms that this is based off of, but it's just a really cool design and really makes it look like a really cool, like tough suit of armor here that she's got on. What little armor there actually is. Anyway, the arms will go up to about there, unfortunately, which seems to be the limit of the upward movement there at the arm, so that articulation there, unfortunately, not too good. Then the arms can just rotate there at the top, and the joint there at the elbow is going to give you a little bit more than 90 degrees, but again, not a whole lot. And then the wrist is just on a ball joint and can be rotated there as well, so you can kind of move that around in pretty much any which way. That's pretty good. We have a point of articulation here between the top and the bottom half of the torso, but it does seem to come off pretty easily, so just be careful when you're moving that around. But you can get some stomach crunch there a little bit, and then moving that back a little bit there as well. At the hips, those can be dropped down a little bit to get a little bit wider range out to the side and to the front. Otherwise, when they're pressed in all the way, they do look the best because there's no gap there, but the articulation is going to be more limited there for that. We have some rotation here between the skin tone and the white armor parts. And then the knee has a nice double joint there with a separation of that knee armor there on top. But once you bend that to a certain degree, just be careful that you don't pop out the parts there at the back. But a really nice bend there at the knee, I've got to say. And then at the ankles, really cool feet here for this, but these can move side to side, no problem there. Up a little bit to about there, and then down a little bit to there like that, and that is pretty much it. And of course, it wouldn't be any frame arms kit without having a bunch of hard points here, here, and all of that. Here on the side of the leg, if you remove this ribbon part, you got another hard point there on the side of the thigh. And so as you can see, overall, just really cool design and tons of really nice detail on there. Once this is all painted up, or even if you just wanted to panel line it and top coat it, it's going to be looking really, really nice. And then here's a comparison to your average HG 1/44 scale Gundam kit, just to give you an idea of the size. So it's taller than that, probably about the size of a smaller master grade like a Wing or F90 Crossbone kind of series master grade kit in terms of its general height and size. And then I wanted to include the weapon in there just because a lot of people do tend to ask about how Frame Arms and Frame Arms Girl's weapons are compatible with different Gundam kits, and just based on the handle, you're gonna have to do some modifying to get any kit to be able to just hold this properly, hold the weapon. But then aside from that, just the size, they're kind of in between. A lot of the stuff, it's like a little bit large if you wanted a larger weapon for an HG kit, or if you're using this for a master grade kit, it's going to be a little bit kind of smaller, about the average size, maybe like, again, a small beam rifle used by something from F91 or Crossbone or something like that. And so overall, the articulation, I mean, it's fine. It's basically comparable to any other Frame Arms Girl kit that I've built. It has certain areas where the articulation is better than others, but overall, your ability to get the kit into some cool poses is not really going to be too much of an issue. Usually, you know, pretty much any pose that you want to do, you can do with these, despite there being some certain areas where the articulation could definitely be better. But I definitely think another area where this kit is going to shine is its different options in terms of its weapons and accessories. Now, as I said before, I'm a little bit disappointed with the face options, basically just being like a plain face, very slightly different, and then one more expressive face. I think it was something else would have been nicer thrown in the mix of there. But yeah, as far as the weapons goes, you got some really nice options for those between the rifle having two different modes, the rifle mode and the pistol mode, the cannon and a second cannon if you wanted to have two cannons, and then the sword makes for some definitely plenty of different options for you to choose from in terms of how you want this to be loaded out. And then of course, whatever you don't use, you can use as option parts for a different kit or something like that if you have them. And always having more Kotobukiya option parts to mix and match between the different kits that you have, either Frame Arms Girls or Frame Arms or whatever you're going to use these for. Always having those extra parts to use is a nice option as well, because that just gives you more options that you can not only use for this kit, but you can use for virtually any other Frame Arms Girls, or many of the different Kotobukiya lines that all use generally the same hardpoints. And that said, just a reminder that a lot of Bandai kits, especially a lot of HD kits, do also use the same width, the 3mm pegs for those. So a lot of these parts, like the cannon parts or something like that, for example, that just plug onto a 3mm peg attachment, could very easily be used with different Bandai option parts for a backpack or something like that as well. Now, of course, for me personally, I would not really be too interested in doing that, just because the details would match. The parts for this, and especially the cannon, is super detailed, so using that with an HD kit, it's probably not going to match. You'll have an HD kit, which are generally, for the most part, not that super finely detailed. Maybe it might work with something like the Moon Gundam or one of the HD The Origin kits or something like that, where they have a lot more detail on them, but most high grades not really detailed enough to be able to mix and match with these parts very well without the parts sticking out. And so here it is with the different neck piece on and without the backpack and helmet, and it's still looking really tough, really cool looking, and it's just such a cool design. I really like this kit quite a lot. A lot of times with the Frame Arms Girls and Megami Device kits, when you have them when they're like less armored state, when you have like all the extra armor parts and everything off like that, they're looking very unarmored. This one, even without those extra parts on it, still looks like pretty tough, and it looks really cool. So anyway, it's a really awesome kit, I gotta say. I definitely recommend it to you guys if you're looking to try out a Frame Arms Girls kit, or if you've tried out a few and you're just been on the fence about whether you want to get this one or not. I would definitely recommend picking it up at some point in time if you can. That might seem a little bit high compared to a master grade kit or something like that, around the same price range that you might be wanting instead, but I think the price is totally worth it. It's a really nice kit. So hopefully this review has been helpful for you guys if you wanted to see some more about this particular kit. I will be taking a look at the Zero Tiger also in the near future, which is a different form of the Frame Arms kit that this is based off of. So we'll take a look at that soon, and then we'll compare them in that review. That should be interesting to see them side by side. Should be pretty cool. But of course, if you guys have any other questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to USA Gundam Store for sponsoring the review, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Hey! Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you want to check the kit out for yourself, you can head over to USA Gundam Store. Use that coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Save yourself 10%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.